Next, I would like to talk about links. Now, links are a pretty important part of any web page. It's really important to know how to link to other web pages or even other sections of your own web page. So let's take a look at how to do that. And you know what? I'll get rid of these images for now, just because they're taking up so much space because they're so big in our little zoomed in window over here. So to do links, you use an A tag. And it's kind of similar to image in that you give it a URL to basically link to. In our case, though, it takes an href. So a href, this is the attribute it takes. And here you can give it an absolute or a relative URL. So if, for example, we wanted to create a link that takes the user to google.com, how would we do that? Well, you'd have to put in HTTP. Right, we're giving it an absolute path here. So HTTP www.google.com. You don't want to forget the HTTP because if you don't have it, it's not really going to work properly. And then you close the A tag. Now notice nothing actually showed up on the page, and that's because, well, the hint is right here. We have to kind of wrap these A tags around something. So whatever you put in here will essentially become linkified, is how I like to think of it. And this could, you could write anything in here, right? So if I write anything, for example, if I take it literally, you see that it turned it into a link here. And as I hover over it, maybe it's hard to see, but at the bottom of my browser, you can see it's going to go to google.com. Right, if I right click and open in a new tab, because I don't want to actually navigate away on this current tab, we can see that it took me to google.com and then Google itself redirected me to google.ca. So usually you want to have some kind of descriptive text here inside your A tag, and that's really for a good user experience. Right, something like click here may be appropriate, maybe not, given whatever circumstance you're linking in. But usually you want to do something like go to Google. That's pretty descriptive in terms of what the link is going to do. And the user will kind of know right off the bat, okay, I know what this thing is. This is a link because when I hover over it, my mouse changes to a little hand, and I know that this will take me to Google, right? We're linking it. We're sending an href, which, by the way, stands for hypertext reference, to google.com. And let's see what happens if I take off the HTTP. Let's see if it works. Right, so we see I'm going to click open link in new tab, and it didn't really know what to do, right? Because it thought it was a relative path. That's why it has this null.js bin stuff in front of it. Because we want to usually go to an absolute path. If you're linking to an external site, generally speaking, you always want to have HTTP in front of it. It's the difference between an absolute and a relative path. Right, so said another way, if you're linking to an external site, just always throw the HTTP in front, or HTTPS if it's that version of the site. Now, for links, I would say it's pretty common to have them in a list because it's common to see that as part of, say, a navigation list. So you might have a bunch of links listed together. It makes kind of logical sense to put those together, like a lot of other things in lists. Right? It's true that lists are used all over the place. So if you wanted to throw this into a list, well, you can probably imagine how it's going to work, but just to re-emphasize, we want to do a UL. Okay, I'll close my UL. And you want to put it as a list item here. So I'm going to open my LI. And what I'll do is I'll just cut and paste this code in. Cut, paste, right? So we nested these A tags inside these LIs. And inside the A tags themselves, this is where we put the description we want for our link, right? So that's one link, as you can see down there at the very bottom. We can do another one. And you want to make sure that when you are nesting something like this, that you put it in the correct order. So you don't want to do something like this, ahref equals http://www.example.com, and then put a list item here. And then a closing list item, and then a closing A tag. And then you can put some text in here. Let's see what this looks like, right? It appears to be correct, but it's not really following the correct format. Usually you want to just linkify whatever's inside the list item. You don't want to linkify the list item itself. And you can tell because look at the bullet point down here. The bullet point itself has been turned into a link. Which might go against user expectations, right? Users might not be expecting, okay, when I click here, it's not going to go anywhere. right? You have to click on the exact portion. Whereas down here, because we've turned this entire element into a link, even if you click here, it's going to take you away from the page. So a little weird. So just make sure that you are nesting in the correct order and also remembering to close off your elements that need to be closed off. Right? So li and then an opening a tag, and then you close your a tag, and then you close your li. Go to example.com. And definitely make sure you remember to close off your a tag. Otherwise, let's see what happens if I get rid of it. No, I do not want to inspect it that way. .com. Right, so what's happening? Well, let's see what happens if we do another li here. Another li slash li. And as you might expect, basically everything following this is going to become a link until we close the a tag. Right, so I've said this before, I'm sure I'll say it a million times, but make sure that you are closing off your tags at the correct locations.